it's 11. We'll get started now. Hi, everybody. My name is Bruno. I'm going to be leading an Amitabha practice today, which you guys already have. And just for y'all's information, I'm not a teacher. I always say this whenever I come by, because I'm just a loyal puppy to the Buddha. And so whatever I say regarding the practice, you could just regard it as, if I'm taking a dead dog or a dead bird to your doorstep, It's like I'm probably trying to say something, but you're not quite sure, because what can a dog say by just barking, and trying to repeat the words of my teacher, who is Chenrezig. So, yeah, just take my words with a grain of salt. And if anything I say is not useful, or if I make any mistakes, I apologize right off the bat, because I know I'll say something that's a bit off. But anyway, we'll just get started with our Refuge, Bodhicitta, and Four Immeasurable Thought prayers on page 5. And regardless of the practice that we do, these are essential for our practice. To feel like we're safe, to feel like we're honoring life, both our life and those around us, really remembering what our path is, and, feeling love and compassion for all beings. I'll get into how this is relevant for mantra practice before we practice. But these two prayers are really everything that you need in order for these feelings to arise. But without further ado, we'll do both of these prayers twice in English and once in Tibetan. And if you don't want to say anything, that's okay. You could just kind of feel what it means to you and just keep your eyes closed, or whatever feels right, because there's no real right or wrong way to practice ultimately. So without further ado, I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Sangha, through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections. May I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Sangha, through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections. May I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. Sanje chedang sokji jognam la jangju baradu dagni japsuji dagi jinsoi jibe sonamji drola banjir sanje rubarsho. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from the happiness that knows no suffering. May all sentient beings live in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from the happiness that knows no suffering. May all sentient beings live in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Zemjen tamje dewadang dewe judang den parajujik Zemjen tamje dugnadang dugna jidang del warajujik Semje damje dugna mebe dewadang midrel warajujik Semje damje nyering chagdang Nidang ralwe dang nyum lane baraju So Buddha Amitabha. Who are they? All right. They were first discussed by the Buddha in 2 sutras. They're relatively short, but they're called something to the effect of like the array of bliss, or the array of Sukhavati, which is Amitabha's so-called Pure Land. And he had made a set of vows in order for sentient beings like you and I, and every other being who passes away, who thinks of Buddha Amitabha, who remembers his name, to be reborn in his Pure Land, to be able to practice, to be able to realize our intrinsic goodness, our ability to live life to the fullest. And, in the more Mantrayana practice, which this sadhana here, this text is more pointing towards, it's pointing towards Amitabha's wisdom of discernment, or our ability to appreciate the multiplicity of life, which is the purity of attachment, of desire, of longing, of the urge to merge, as my teacher puts it. Personally, that's what I struggle the most with. I think that's like my afflictive emotion. My toxic personality trait is being full of attachment. And, before even going there, it's important to know that there is one ground, 2 paths, and 2 fruitions. That's what this little booklet says, the prayer of Kuntu Zangpo. And what that means is, it even says so in this prayer that all beings are already Buddhas. We're already enlightened. We're already not messed up, right? But the ways in which we understand the reality of ourselves and that around us is a bit twisted. It's kind of a tripping, like we're tripping, to put it in crass terms. And so Mantrayana practice really takes the result as a path. We no longer have to identify with our usual hang-ups, with our usual desires and aversions and our delusions, and we can identify with the Buddha that's already within us. And so let me just use an example of coffee. I love coffee. Some of you already know this. And I could be really desirous of coffee, especially if I don't have any, right? It's like I have that caffeine headache, and I'm like, oof, some coffee seems really good. Like I want to merge with it, essentially, right? I'm being really attaching to it and desiring it. And there's 2 steps I could take there, right? I could really work myself up, get my cup of coffee, and be like, ooh, this is so good. This is what I yearned for. I always want this. I want more, right? And never being satisfied with the coffee that's in front of me. Or, I could get my coffee. I could understand the nature of the coffee, which is interdependence, right? Where did the coffee come from? It came from the store, first of all. But where did it come from before the store? Probably from a forest somewhere in South America or Africa or Asia, depending on which coffee we prefer. Where did the trees come from? It took harvesters to harvest the beans. It took farmers to cultivate the plants. And where did the plants come from? They needed seeds before. They needed the earth. They needed moisture. They needed heat from the sun. And so there was never a coffee that existed by itself that I could long for. It's empty in that way, right? And even the coffee I long for is my version of a coffee. You know, I may like my coffee black as the night, but Molly, if she were to drink that, she'd be disgusted, right? Like, ew, like I want, at least want a little bit of sugar or creamer in there. Right? So there's no like ultimate essence of coffee, you know. There is coffee, what it is to me, what it is to Molly, what it is to all of you, as well as everything else, right? This is my iPhone. Is it really? There's nothing in the iPhone itself that makes it mine. It's only a designation, right? And so appreciating that interdependence of the things that we long for without really grasping onto it or rejecting it outright will allow that love and appreciation for everything that we come across that we desire, without suffering, you know. And that's what Buddha Amitabha really sort of symbolizes in this practice, is that ability to discern what's in front of us, to tell what a microphone is, what water is, what computer is, and to be able to appreciate those qualities without falling into the pitfall of saying like, ooh, this is my computer. You know, this is my water, precious mine. I want more, you know? Actually quite good. And so this like begs the question, how does mantra practice even work, right? It's one thing to have like a theory on what's going on, but how does it apply in practice, right? And my teacher, Garchen Rinpoche, emphasizes the three powers that go into this kind of practice. And the first one is of intention, the intention that we put into our practice. And this ties into faith, which is kind of a iffy word nowadays in our secularized scientific society, right? But this isn't like a blind faith. This isn't like something that we just trust at face value. We really have to critique and analyze and really see if this is what it is, right? And so there's three different kinds of faith that Garchen talks about. The first one is clear faith in the wisdom and compassion of the Buddhas. You know, since all beings are Buddhas and Buddhas are born from compassion and altruism, whenever we see someone acting in a selfless way with love and altruism, that's the wisdom and compassion of a Buddha, whether or not we put that label on it, right? And that's something that we witness on a day-to-day basis, you know? When I make coffee and my breakfast for Kalina, for instance, that could be an instance of mindfulness, right? It's like, ooh, like I'm really falling in line with this wisdom and compassion of the Buddha, right? And two, the second type of faith is longing faith for liberation or freedom for self and others, you know, because we all have our own sufferings, right? That's kind of an unavoidable thing. We have pains in our bodies. We have to pay taxes. We have to go to work. We have to eat. We have to do all these sorts of things, right? And there is liberation, you know, whether we can conceive of it or not is something different, but that's our nature, to be free and liberated. And so wanting that not only for ourselves, but for everyone else around us and for the entire universe, if we're capable of it. Like that faith and trust that liberation is possible is key. And the third type of faith is trust in karma. This one is really important. You know, whenever we set up a cause, there will be a result of it. No exceptions. You know, if we rub sticks together for a long enough time, there will be a fire, right? If we put water on a plant, whether we like it or not, it'll grow, right? Unless we overwater it. So we need to be skillful in our trust in karma too, right? But, you know, if we set up the cause, there will be a like result. And so, if we're taking the result as our path and we really set up the cause to embody Buddha Amitabha or whatever practice that we're doing, we will become Buddha Amitabha. We will become that essence of enlightenment and wisdom. And so that's the first power of intention, right? Of having that faith and trust in karma, cause and effect, in wisdom and compassion, and in liberation, you know? And that it isn't cheap either, you know? And the second is of the bienvenidos, of the Tathagatas, as I call them, those that have gone to suchness. It sounds so weird in English, so I'd rather just say el bienvenidos, you know, the ones who have gone well, right? And so this is the wisdom and compassion of all the Buddhas of all time, and the Buddhas that we are already, right? Because we have vows, we have commitments, right? And as long as existence exists, those vows will never end. They're massive, they're huge, they don't have a boundary, you know? That's why they call the four immeasurables immeasurable, because there's no beginning, no ending, ceaseless, right? And so whenever we call upon the Buddha Amitabha, they're going to hear us if we have that trust in karma and refuge, right? And bodhicitta, that love for all beings. Because our mind and Buddha Amitabha's mind and all of our minds are one in essence, you know. It's that interdependence that I was speaking about earlier. And so if we witness that interdependence with love and compassion and call upon the Buddha Amitabha, then Amitabha will listen. And that quality of Amitabha will grow within us. And the third power is of the Dharma Dhatu, which is basically that interdependence that we're talking about, right? That rather than identifying with our temporary selves, my Bruno self that grew up in El Paso, that had these certain traumas, that had this certain upbringing, which is still valid, right? That's not going to go away. But rather than putting so much emphasis on it, really trying to see what qualities I have already. You know, my awareness of the Dharma, I feel like that's a past life thing. My ability to be creative. My ability to like look out and listen for people. Right? We all have those qualities. We just need to melt our ice block of delusion. You know, because we solidify, we concretize, we make things complicated, and we have so much logic to prove to ourselves that we're messed up or that the world is messed up, things like this, right? And the Buddhas are born of altruism, and when you look out for other people, you start to forget yourself a little bit, right? When you're cooking a meal for someone, you're not really thinking about yourself, you're thinking about the person who's going to eat it. Right? And so by slowly habituating ourselves to that type of mindset, we melt that ice block to be closer to everybody else, right? To be closer to our Buddha qualities. And so you know, I want to comment a little bit on some of the lines of this practice before we get into it, which we will get into it. You know, in the last 3 lines, it says, all sentient beings are in the form of Buddha Amitabha. All sound is the sound of unproduced mantra. Full mindfulness awareness is the unborn Dharmakaya. These are really profound lines. So that's kind of taking the result as a path. You know, we're already assuming that we're in the Pure Land, of bliss, which is Dewa Chen, great bliss, right? And so when we rest in our intrinsic awareness, which is Amitabha, everything that we come across, all appearances, all sounds, smells, tastes, touches, and thoughts become Amitabha. Which is kind of crazy to think about, I feel like I have to be careful now. If you really take this into practice, you have to be really careful about what you're doing. Because Kalina and I were taking a 2-hour bike ride, and I had gotten frustrated with one of the pedals, and I was like, oof, I was getting really pissed off at it. And then I remembered that all beings, even if they're sentient or not, are Buddha Amitabha. It's like, damn, am I really trash talking Amitabha right now? Even in this Kundu Zangpo prayer, it says the Buddha will manifest in millions of unimaginable ways because of interdependence and love and compassion. And so when we were resting within the meditation and the mantra, that becomes a reality, right? We're creating that reality. All sound is a sound of unproduced mantra. The mantra Om Ami Dewa Hri is actually Amitabha as well. There's no difference. And so once we're resting within that mantra recitation, the air conditioner becomes mantra. Someone nagging at you from the next room is mantra. The songs that we hear on the radio, that whether we like them or not, are mantra, right? And so this is really taking mindfulness to its fullest extent, because we have to remember how pure things are intrinsically. And lastly, full mindfulness awareness is the unborn Dharmakaya, which is to say that it's a space-like expanse that has never come nor go. Once I started being more aware of what the mind is, I really realized that I've always had it, and it doesn't have a form, it doesn't have a shape, it doesn't have a color, right? But it's always been here with us. And the contents of the mind is what makes up our personalities, our perceptions, things like this. And those things come and go, right? The experiences that I had in high school, long gone. The experiences that I had last night, long gone, right? The future is not yet here. The present is a fleeting moment, right? We can't quite grasp onto anything that's happening. And so rather than trying to grasp on or push away stuff that's going to come and go anyway, may as well appreciate the space that all of that resides within, right? And once we do, once we have that immeasurable peace and happiness, we are in Dewa Chen, we are in the Pure Land. It's not a foreign concept or too magical. It's right under our nose. It's right in the palm of our hands. It's right in our hearts already. And so that's about it. I could go more in detail, but I want to practice. So if you guys have any questions before we start, I'd be happy to field them. And if not, we could get into it.
Can you define the syllables, the mantra, what they mean?
Oh yeah, the meaning of the mantra. I tried looking it up, but it seems to be just a Tibetan pronunciation of Amitabha's name. So in Sanskrit it'd be Om Amitabha Hri. And Amitabha is known as the Buddha of infinite light, right? And to go into a little bit of his symbology, he's the color red, like the setting sun. So whenever you see the setting sun in the west, our beautiful sunsets here in El Paso, you could think, oh yeah, that's Amitabha saying what's up. You know, he has a bowl of nectar in his hands, which feed all sentient beings with love and compassion. And this mudra, the cosmic mudra, is quite interesting. Right? In the Zen practice, there is a lot of meaning about holding the entire universe within your hands. And he has 3 dharma robes of morality, of ethics, of samadhi or meditation, and wisdom, right? And he's on top of a moon disk, which symbolizes cooling sentient beings from the heat of suffering. And below that is a lotus petal, lotus blossom, which symbolizes the ability to transform our suffering into liberation. The lotus grows out of the mud of delusion, of anger, of aversion. And so, regardless of all the muck that we have, of all the baggage that we carry, we can let it go and transform into a beautiful lotus and into Buddha Amitabha. And the seed syllable Hri is the nature of our mind. It is that space-like nature where it holds everything that we apprehend with our senses on an outer level and within our thoughts and our perceptions on a mental level. And that's a Dharmakaya, right? And the Sambhogakaya, the body of great enjoyment, is the life force vitality, our ability to be awake and aware of anything that's happening, right? That's the Sambhogakaya. And then Nirmanakaya, the body of manifestation, is our bodies, right? The bodies of ourselves and our environment. And so Hri, the seed syllable Hri there, is our mind, right? It's a mind of Amitabha, it's a mind of ourselves. That didn't really answer your question, but that was what came up. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions before we start? Okay. And so again, to a nice comfortable position with your back more or less straight. And let's just take 3 cleansing breaths. And as our bodies relax into our seat, into the cushions, just remember that there's nowhere else to be right now, nowhere else to go, nothing to do, nothing to figure out, just to sit comfortably relaxed and aware. And no matter what comes up to mind, whether it be thoughts about the past, plans about the future, whatever it is, it may be whatever it is we may be feeling at the moment, it's all fine. You could relax, you could let it go, you could let it be. try to feel what the space of mind feels like, rather than the contents of the mind. Where do they be happening? Where do the thoughts come from? Where are they staying and where are they going? Try to find that space. Wide open, without boundaries, without any limits, unstained by bright or obscure thoughts. Unpolluted by our ordinary personalities and bodies. This space of mind is the Dharmakaya, the body of all phenomena, of all dharmas. And within this space, you could imagine in front of you that there is a lotus that blossoms from the depths of your mind. Thousands of petals. Maybe you could smell its fragrance. You could feel how soft its petals are. And within this lotus, there arises a moon disk from within it. The full moon, bright, clear, and soft, cooling us down from a hot day. And you could bring to mind, along with the moon, that feeling of love you have for somebody. Whether it be your partner, or your daughter, or child, or your dog. And if you want to bring the dead into this practice, you could bring up someone that you've lost. In my case, my father, my grandmother, and all my ancestors. Feel that love within that expanse. How the moon makes that spaciousness so bright. And from this feeling of love, there arises the syllable Hri. You could visualize it however feels right. There's no right way to do it. Just trust your intuition and your imagination. That Hri is a symbol of love. The love that we have for those around us and for life itself. and the Hri transforms into Buddha Amitabha. Again, however you visualize them, it's fine. If you have trouble visualizing, you could even look at the image of Amitabha on the practice page, because that's no different from our mind. And Buddha Amitabha is staring at us. He's bearing witness to our intrinsic Buddhahood, to our ability to love and help others, and to understand how reality is. And within his heart, there is a syllable Hri on a lotus and moon disc. Encircled by the mantra rotating to the right. In the realm of Dewachen, all sentient beings are in the form of Buddha Amitabha. All sound is a sound of unproduced mantra. Full mindfulness awareness is the unborn Dharmakaya state. And as we recite the mantra, keep the visualization in mind, but imagine that from Amitabha's heart, there extends the light rays, brilliantly red, that emanate towards the 10 directions, to all of the expanse of space in all universes. Om Amidevare. 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 Om Om Ami Devare. Om Ami Devare. Om Ami Devare. Om Let's just rest for a few moments in the reverberations of Amitabha's mantra. and in the love that we've generated for the entire universe of beings. Remember that Amitabha is in front of us. And the light rays that have radiated from his heart return back to his heart. And on the back of the page, there is a Pure Land prayer. And so still imagine that Buddha Amitabha is before us. And he has two bodhisattvas by his side. On the right side is Avalokiteshvara, the Lord of Great Compassion. And on the left side is Vajrapani, the embodiment of the Buddha's power. And Amitabha, Chenrezig, and Vajrapani will be leading us and all others to the Pure Land of great bliss with this aspiration. And again, if you don't feel like saying it, it's totally okay. If you could generate that feeling of intention and aspiration as you listen, that's more than sufficient. Emaho. In the center is a marvelous Buddha Amitabha of boundless light. On the right side is the Lord of Great Compassion. And on the left side is Vajrapani, Lord of powerful means. All are surrounded by limitless Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Immeasurable peace and happiness is the blissful pure land of Dewachan. When I and all beings pass from samsara, may we be born there without taking samsaric rebirth. May I have the blessing of meeting Amitabha face to face by the power and blessings of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions. May I attain this aspiration without hindrance. Te yata panza driya awa bodha naya so. Now imagine that Amitabha, Avalokiteshvara, and Vajrapani begin to melt into light before our eyes, our mind's eye, I guess I should say. And so all that's left are 3 orbs of light: white, red, and blue. And these orbs of light come together at the crowns of our heads. And they begin to melt into our bodies, blessing our body, speech, and mind, so that they may reflect the qualities and activities, and of course, the body, speech, and mind of all the Buddhas that ever were, that are currently, and that will be. So that's a practice. Very short, yeah. Are there any comments or questions before we dedicate the merit, or should we just call it a Sunday? No, we're good? Okay. So just a closing remark, I suppose. So, Garchen, in this book, he describes Amitabha as our innate awareness. There's no other Amitabha than that. And to put it simply, in the 37 Bodhisattva practices, number 36 is, in brief, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, always examine the state of your mind. Act to accomplish the purpose of others through constant mindfulness and awareness. This is the way of a bodhisattva. So just that quality of being mindful and aware, that is the Buddha within us. That is Amitabha. And we always have that capacity. You know, we could thank impermanence for that as well. You know, because I used to be the type of person that was really depressed and would grasp at the reality of it. Like, there's no other way I could be. But with karma, cause and effect, and impermanence, it doesn't have to be that way. You know, I could be the embodiment of infinite light if I want to. We just have to cultivate that cause. And so I believe that each and every one of us, not only in this room, but in the entire universe of universes, that we could embody love and compassion and wisdom. And so with that, we'll do the dedication prayers on page 60, which speak to that essence of wanting to spread the good vibes, as they say. And so we'll just say each of the prayers once in English and Tibetan, both the Bodhicitta prayer, dedication of merit, and that last little world peace bit, and then we'll call it a Sunday. May the supreme jewel Bodhicitta that is not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. Jangju Zemjo Grin Je Ma Je Banam Je Jurjik Je Ba Nyamba Me Ba Yang Gong Ne Gong Du Berwara Jo. Through this virtuous action, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead every being without exception into that pure world. Gewa Di Nyerdu Dak Lama Sanje Rup Jernim Browa Jityang Malupa Dei At this very moment, for the peoples and nations of the earth, may not even the names disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard, but rather may pure conduct, merit, wealth, and prosperity increase, and may supreme good fortune and well-being always arise. Om Ahong. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so, as always, we depend on generosity to keep the doors open and the wonderful AC running. And so, if you're able to donate some monetary funds, that's greatly appreciated. But if not, your time and presence is generous enough. So thank you very much for being here, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day and life.
Thank you.